Stan! Oh, catch out the light refreshments on a Saturday afternoon. This is just a quick video. It's probably the only one I'm going to do this weekend because I've been busy, didn't have time for doing research. But there's a couple little projects I've got up and coming. I just want to share this little one with you. I am going to try and get some sort of little display regarding my time in the Army Cadets, even though it was only a year, 18 months. Just with some photographs and some bits. I'm trying to put that together now. But in the meantime, you know, a lot of people don't, unless they do the genealogy thing and they really start looking into their family's past. A lot of people nowadays, of my generation and younger, don't know a lot about their forebears, military history, or their history in general. A lot of it's undocumented, I suppose. So I'm trying to just put some little bits together. So we've done this one before. That's my great-grandfather was a stoker on HMS Yarmouth, Battle of Jutland. So if we go up here, you've seen him before. It was a bit tasty. It's my wife's grandfather who went to Canada, and I don't think if you pushed into him in the bar, he'd say, "Oh, sorry, old chap, you were first." I think you had a bunch of fives, or whatever that pistol is, wrapped around your head. The reason why he's my wife's grandfather and he's my great-grandfather, someone did ask me this before, it's me and my wife are slightly different in age, but not a great deal, but her parents were, and he was a lot older, if you get me drift, so he had them all together, even though these two, I think my great-grandfather's are slightly older. You understand where it's coming from. Yeah, okay. Not that it's any of your business. But we move over here. This photograph I just got recently, there's Stan the Cadets, where is he? There he is. That fellow in the Royal Marine uniform is my maternal grandfather, Ken Watkins. Now, it is a bit strange because I only found out not long ago that he served in World War II. Reason for that is he is my biological grandfather, and he was born in Wales, a Welsh fella. I've only ever met him once, and that was many years ago when I was a child in the 1970s. Basically, my grandmother and him got married, had my mother, got divorced in the early 50s, and that was that. My grandmother went on to marry another guy who became my grandfather. As far as I was aware, I was 12. I didn't, my mother still doesn't really talk about it much nowadays. But in those days, people didn't, I suppose, air their washing. In the 1970s, very early on, 74, 75, went down south and we visited this fella and his, new family. And there was no more contact after that. Well, it's one of them things. But I found this. I think my mother did pass it on to me, and I thought, oh right. And apparently he had a few stories to tell. He got transferred in the army, saw action in Normandy. He was also a big storyteller. So, so that's him. I just thought I'd put it in there. I don't really have any more info. In fact, I only ever saw one more photograph of him before he died. But that's my biological grandfather, who was a Welsh fellow from your mother's side. So, yeah. So, the point of today's video, as we move along, not tripping over a load of helmets, is in this cabinet. I made a little thing for my father-in-law, chap here. And there he is there. Focus. So he did his national service, and he was in the Pioneers, and he died this year, and my relationship with him was sort of okay. He was a strong character, a difficult guy to know, but obviously when a relative passes, it's the end of something. So I said to my wife, if you've got any old photographs of him in his army uniform, I'll gladly knock something up so it just remembers him doing his bit. And there's also a National Service Medal, which I've just got. It's got a spare ribbon in the box. I do have the blurb. Give me a minute. Come with me. I'll have to get the book. So, the National Service Medal. Here we are. Focus on my old father-in-law. Date, 1991. And it's for the period of conscription from 1939 to 1960. National service, both military and civilian. Ribbon, dark blue with narrow central gold stripe and narrow white and red stripes at the edges, representing the involvement of the British Legion. Made of copper nickel, 36mm in diameter. On the obverse, the seated figure of Britannia supported by a lion with the inscription National Service 1939 to 1960. Reverse, a wreath enclosing the inscription for Crown and Country fitted with a scrolled suspension. Between January 1939, when the National Service Act was passed, and December 1960, when it was repealed, some 5,300,000 young people were conscripted in the armed services. Their medal was proposed by the Royal British Legion, and almost 110,000 have been issued to date. Now, I think it's more of a commemorative medal than sort of official medal. And he didn't see any career, or was he too young? He didn't see any fighting action, stayed in the UK. And the thing that sticks in my mind about this is that, as I said, my relationship with him wasn't like, going out for a pint on a Sunday afternoon type of father-in-law and son-in-law. But I respect his generation for doing their bit after World War II, if you like. I worked with loads of guys in the 80s and 90s who'd done national service. Some had seen action, a lot hadn't, but a lot of them had done it, and they had a common ground, I think. And my father's generation, those who left school in the sort of mid-60s or earlier than that, they were the first ones who didn't have to do it. And even though, I look back to when I was 18, if you were an apprentice, you could put it off till you were 21 or till you came out of your apprenticeship. I think that was the situation. And I think that 1960 wasn't the last intake. It was just repealed. I believe there was ones who went on to serve in 1961, 62. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. And I look back and I think, would I have liked to have gone in the army then? I'd have been, no, I'm all right as I am. I think that when you get to a certain age, you get older, you think, would it have been such a bad thing? I know that they couldn't afford national service, the British government. It was, something that I think the army were against, or the armed forces were against, because basically you were getting people in who didn't want to be there. So it made their job a bit more difficult. Financially, they couldn't keep it up. There's a nice little thing, I think, to remember my father-in-law's service in the army. So that's him there. National Service Medal. It's obviously just something I've got off online, it's, so there we go. And there's my grandfather. Don't know what I'll do with him. I probably won't leave him there. I might move him on to somewhere else. And the other grandfather, whoa, scary dude. And the old great-grandfather who was in the Battle of Jutland, whose medals I've got upstairs. So that's a bit of family militaria fun, if you like. And when I've done the little thing of the army cadets, which is over here, this little photograph, I might have to get the smaller one for that. So I've got some of these little raised. I've got a trophy. I bought some little bits. I bought a cap badge because I'm in danger of being some sort of like bullshit merchant. But we were army cadets, parachute regiment. You can see black beret. I haven't actually got one. I've got a cap comforter on, and on the brassard, I don't know what he's got on there. Looks like a pair of parawings, but it isn't. I don't know if it says Cleveland ACF or I can't remember what the brassard looked like. So I don't obviously have mine, but I've bought some bits off online, which hopefully will just give a nod towards Little Stan's involvement in running around with World War II era rifles and itchy shirts, which, was fun. So, it's enough for me prattling on. I better get back to a bit of light refreshment time. This is Stan, and I will, of course, see ya.